Welcome on into the 50th episode of the Squires Station. I'm your host, Davey Squires, and this episode is sponsored by buzzmusic.com. If you want local and indie music, articles, reviews, and band descriptions, then look no further than buzzmusic.com. They also do submissions as well, and you can market with them. You can do whatever you want. Just email them on their website. That's buzzmusic.com. All your indie music news, local music news, and reviews right there for you. And it's not like Billboard, it's not like Pitchfork. They have these honest reviews, not for the clicks, not for the views, not even for the likes. They have an amazing, talented group of people, of local artists and people just wanting to get into the journalism industry, and they make it work, and they're one of the best, and they've done my music as well. So shout out to buzzmusic.com. If you want to check them out, the link is in my description below on everything, actually. All descriptions are in the below. All descriptions are in below. But if you are listening or watching this right now, thank you so much. This is my 50th episode, which is just unbelievable. I mean, it's actually crazy. I mean, the fact that I've been able to pull off this podcast for 50 episodes, it's a little bit, it's gone quick, but it's a little bit weird because, like, I never thought I would even get to 50 episodes, let alone, interview as many artists as I have interviewed and done so much, like, just different interviews and different artists, and not even just musicians, but like visual artists. I mean, I've had a few fire spinners and a lot of visual artists on here too. So thank you guys so much for your support and all the guests that have been able to come on. And I'm really glad you guys sent in your questions for this episode. I had a little poll on my Twitter, my Instagram stories, and my Snapchat, and a lot of people sent in some good questions, and not even about the podcast, but about my other projects too. So I'll be answering some of those as well. And yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say before we go into the questions here. But yeah, this is actually I got reminded of something here. Before we go into the questions here, this is my new kind of, not studio, apartment, basically. Yeah, this is my new setup, my new apartment. My piano's over there right now, laptop's over there, obviously, and then I have all these lights and Christmas stuff because it's holiday season stuff, and, you know, Charlie Brown and what have you. Anyway, yeah, this is my new setup, and I also did a little room tour before I left Ohio 2 months ago, actually, and I just thought about that, and so I'll get that video of my prior room tour uploaded as soon as possible. That's kind of like an offshoot project I have for the podcast that's only going to be on YouTube. Hopefully, maybe at some point, if I feel like it, I'll do a room tour maybe of this room. I mean, it's not a big place, but there's some interesting stuff in here that I would kind of want to show off, and kind of like the space is pretty cool. I really like the space, and I've really enjoyed using this space already for recording music and stuff like that, so that's been good. But yeah, it's a nice space, and it's a nice place. I'm in here now, so it's been interesting. The move has been interesting. I believe this is the first time I'm actually recording a podcast from, like, using my camera and all that stuff from here. So this is really cool. I've had episodes using my laptop camera, which really doesn't really show off the place as much. I mean, I don't think that does either, but yeah. Anyway, I'll at some point I'll do a room tour of this place. That's all other projects. But for now, we got a Q&A to do, and again, I thank you guys for sending in your questions. And for those who responded, this is all anonymous, by the way. I had to tell a couple people that, yes, this is all anonymous. And I think that just makes it more fun. I mean, nobody likes anonymous. I don't know. Unanonymous, I guess, is the word to say or use. I don't know. Anyway, this is all anonymous. And yeah, I'm going to be answering some of you guys' questions, either about the podcast, music, whatever. It spans from a good amount. So yeah, I'm really excited. Let's do this. So I got this hat, courtesy of Judy. Thank you, Judy. Grandma Judy, come on. Shout out to Barberton, Ohio. Come on. All right. So we got a lot of questions to get through here. So let's pack it in, boys. Let's pack it in. All right, one flew out. That must be the first one. Here we go. All right. What do we got? Coolest place you've been in Montana? I think I forgot the 2 on that one. Coolest place you've been to in Montana? I do like Bozeman, Montana. That's probably my favorite city in Montana, I'd say. It's really fast growing right now. A lot of people who ski and snowboard are also there. They go up from Yellowstone and Big Sky, those ski resorts and stuff. So if they're there for the season, they usually go to Bozeman. That's kind of the closest city. I feel like that's my favorite city. Coolest place? There's a lot of cool little towns here. And not just like, they're mountain towns. Like your normal Midwest town, like little small town, that has nothing compared to mountain small towns. Because 1, the nature is beautiful. And then 2, like, it's just stuck in time, basically. Like the place is stuck in time. Like it has, like, usually these towns have good upkeep and whatever. But the coolest one in Montana, that I've been to, would probably have to be White Sulphur Springs. I really loved the way that little small town looks. Their downtown at night is really cool, and they have a lot of new bars and some new construction stuff too, which is interesting because a lot of small towns and just generally in America don't, have that new infrastructure in place. But White Sulphur Springs somehow does, and it keeps that small town vibe. So that's probably the coolest place I've been to so far in Montana. I really want to go to Glacier National Park at some point next year. It's closed down now for the season, but next year, that is prime time for me to go there. And I've heard so many great things about Glacier. And, I've been to Yellowstone, I've been to Yosemite, I've been to the big ones, but I've never been to Glacier. And that's considered a big one, I think, maybe, to most people at least. So, yeah, thanks for the question. Just throw it behind me. Let's just, put it on the table right there. I'm going to adjust this again. For some reason, this microphone is ridiculous in that it'll just slant down a little bit. Hold on. I got it. I got to keep my good posture, Okay. On to the next question. Here we go. All right. Favorite topic to cover on the podcast? Oh my God. So many great topics have been covered on this podcast. I don't know. Like, favorite topic in general? Oh, I don't know. We've never really gotten too political on this podcast. We've kind of, had a little bit times where it's just like almost there. But I think the thing about this podcast is usually when I'm asking questions and it gets to political whatever somehow, I usually kind of mellow it out and try to joke about it. That's what I like to do with politics, because that's usually all you can do, because I'm not a politician, and nor do I want to be, and I just joke about it, and that's kind of how I mellow things out. And I don't talk about I don't like talking about politics. So, but what was the favorite topic? Favorite topic? We've gotten. This happens a lot. We talk about food a lot on this podcast for some reason, but we also talk about Minecraft a good amount. Like, I think a good fourth of the episodes involved, we talked about Minecraft at least a little bit with most guests. Sometimes it's been weeks in a row we talk about Minecraft. Sometimes we could talk about Minecraft for the whole episode. I remember that one episode with freaking Vic Wayland. We talked about podcast. We talked about Minecraft for like 20 minutes straight. I'm like, okay, I don't even play Minecraft. Everybody else does, which is fine. Yeah. I don't know if that's my favorite, but it's definitely a topic that's been brought up a lot of times on this podcast. Favorite, I just like talking about music too. I really get into it with other artists about, especially the theory of it all. I really do. I know last episode, the rerun with Pistol Whip, we got into a lot of music theory with that episode, and Usually I try not to do that as much, but because it's kind of a pretentious thing where it's like you start going so far into music theory where nobody can understand but the professors out there. So I'm not about being gatekeeping music. That's not what I'm about. So that's that question. Thank you for the century. All right, let's see. Fave thing about the new radio job. And if you do not know, I just accepted a radio job here in Montana. But my favorite thing about just doing radio in general is the viewer interactions are fun. I really love those, especially when it's like a call-in type thing. I really like doing that in radio. But kind of just, being a personality on air and not necessarily in front of a bunch of people, but just like, you never know who's going to be listening, and just being a personality and a guy and just a character that they can remember throughout the day. Maybe if I, can leave a mark that way through radio. That's kind of my favorite thing, that I can do that I'm able to do that. And if I do it well, I do it well. If I don't, then I should probably improve. But that's kind of my favorite thing about the job. I can put some character behind it. It's not like an office desk job where it's like your character, your personality doesn't really show usually, like, and that's why I've never liked 9-to-5 jobs where it's like you're in a cubicle and you're just, you're not really showing your character that way. And that's fine for some people. For me specifically, it just does not work. So, all right, that question is done. Let's razzle dazzle up the hat. Oh, one flew out again. Let's do it. How's the weather? It's cold. Actually, a few days ago, it's the 1st of December, a few days ago as I'm recording this, it was like 60 degrees, and there were some red flag warnings for wildfires and shit, and that was kind of odd. Since then, it's cooled down a lot, and next week, or actually tomorrow, I know it's going to snow probably, so that's fun. Good for the wildfires, which honestly, we need the snow. I know I have a few friends in Denver, and they say it hasn't snowed there yet, and it's still like 70 degrees. I'm like, come on, what the fuck? So yeah, we need the snow. We need the snow. As much as I don't like snow, we need it. That's yeah, we need it. But it's been cold. It's been cold. It's been warm. It hasn't been like brutally cold yet. So I'm waiting for that. That should happen in January or something. I don't know. But it hasn't been like, I don't think it's been below 0 once. So it hasn't been like super duper cold. But, take this morning, for instance, it was like 20 degrees, which not bad. It's not bad. I mean, whatever. I've been through worse weather. That's how the weather is. All right. Let's see who's next. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's been a long day, guys. I'm just throwing things. Places you want to visit. Now, I wasn't sure what they meant in this question, and I didn't ask. So, places I would want to visit. Well, I mentioned Glacier National Park earlier, and as for like national parks, I don't know. There's nothing in particular I want to visit now. I do want to go to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan at some point in camp. I've only been up there once, and I didn't go too far inland, so I really want to go up there at some point. That's in the U.S. And I do want to go up to Edmonton, Alberta, and see my friends there. I have a few friends up there, so if the border opens at some point and life resumes to normal at some point maybe, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I would want to go up to Edmonton and just Canada in general. I really want to go up there. I'm getting my passport all nude, actually. Getting a new passport sometime soon. I have an appointment in a few weeks, but yeah, I really want to go up there at some point. I know COVID's kind of coming back in style, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, I really want to go up there at some point, and I really want to go up to Maine. at some point, just like a weekend or whatever. Just like fly there on like a Spirit flight for the weekend. That'd be cool. That'd be super duper cool. I also do want to try the airport here in town, the Northern Montana airport that only flies to Denver, I think, and a few other big cities. I think I'd have to check that, but they only do like passenger plane stuff, so it's like small planes, and I really want to try that. I've never been on a small plane before, so I've only been on the jumbo jets, the jambolayas, crocodiles, jambalaya. All right, yeah. All right. I've also been getting into tea lately too. It's white tea raspberry. It's nothing fancy. It's Lipton. I have better tea in my drawers right now, but I don't want to use them because they're hot tea, and I'm super hot right now. Like the boiler's right under me, super hot. Anyway, on to the next question. Let's see, folks. Favorite guest that I have had on the show. Oh shit. Favorite guest. I don't know. Favorite guest. I've always loved having I've always liked having Vic Wayland on. The episodes I've done with him are just really funny because his just like specific brand of dark humor, it's pretty funny. It gets pretty funny, and I think our characters kind of mix well. The first episode was still kind of a interview a little bit, and then, you know, as he got more comfortable and as I got more comfortable, we kind of just like, after I think we did like 5 episodes together, and you know, as that went on, I enjoyed it. That was really fun. Yeah. A car just honked outside, and I don't know who it is. But yeah, I've always had fun with Vic, and the boys from the Intangibles are always fun too. They were the 3rd episode or something. They were early on. The Intangibles were fun. Cletus is always a blast having on. I've had him on 3-4 times or something like that. Tim Schilling, he's always a hoot. You know, we always get into it about the weirdest things, whether it be jazz or the Olympics or what have you. So, you know, I'm not saying those guests are better than anybody else, any other guest, but I'm just saying, like, those are the kind of the ones that just stood out in my mind. And definitely the one that I from last week with Pistol Whip, that was fun. When we did that one back in 2019, May of 2019, actually. And that was really fun. That was a long interview. That was one of the longest shows I've ever done, I think, because it turned out to be like 2.5 hours, even though the episode was only like an hour and 30 minutes, but the whole entire session was like 2.5 hours. It was crazy. Longest interview I probably ever will do, because it's just, oh man. It was interesting. It was definitely an interesting time with them. We got into some really interesting topics. If you want to go watch the episode, it's up. It's the episode right before this one. So anyway, yep. Those are the kind of the ones that stood out in my mind. All right. We got inspirations in music? ? Inspiration in music. Music inspirations. What have I been listening to right now? The Spotify rap just came out, and it's a bunch of J-pop for me. I think I posted it or something. And yeah, it's just been a bunch of J-rock and J-pop for me mostly this year. I've been listening to a lot of Indre's new album, and a lot of Josie McGee, her new album who came out this past summer, and that's a great album. And Home Dog and the Stars sent me their album too, and shout out to them. That's some amazing cool guys, cool sounds. They had some local Ohio artists in there. I did listen to the Intangibles, another local band that I listened to, and Jeff Clem. In terms of like national artists, I listened to a lot of Ben Folds. In fact, he was like Ben Folds and Ben Folds 5 were in the top 2 places on my top artists of the year. So it's like, what the fuck? In terms of Japanese stuff, I listen to a lot of Bump of Chicken and Flo and Lisa. She is nuts. She's the chick who does the the Demon Slayer intro. So a lot of American football lately too. I've been getting back into them. I forgot how good they were. They're a very good band. I think they're classified as Midwestern emo, I think. But yeah, they're cool. A lot of piano rock, a lot of jazz fusion, not necessarily just jazz. Though sometimes I do go back to those standards and just listen to them, especially when I'm cooking. That's a thing. I listen to a jazz when I'm cooking. It's cool. Makes me feel like I'm on like a cooking show or some shit, you know. A lot of piano rock. Really anything with piano in it, I just automatically will like, even if it's like synthesized. And if you check out my Spotify, I do have a playlist of 2,000 songs on there. It's like 200 hours of music, and a lot of it's Japanese, and then a lot of it's English, and then some of it's Italian, and some of it's like Spanish. But yeah, that has a lot of my favorite artists on there, so all rounded up into one. So if you're really curious about me, check out that playlist. Maybe I'll put it in the description. I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know. Maybe. If it's down in the description, then it's there. If it's not, then whatever. All right. On to new and bigger things here on this next question. What radio station are you on? And that is a question that I got a lot, so I decided to save it. Because a lot of people were wondering, and I post about it sometimes, but sometimes people don't get the drift. I'm on KOJM in Havre, Montana. I don't know if I can link it or whatever, but it's a highlinetoday.com is the website we use. And it's just a little station here in Havre, and it's a really, really cool it's a cool station, cool small independently run station that supports local businesses, and we have a lot of local people come in and do voice work, and then I do production, I'm on air, and I work with a lot of cool people. And really honestly with this job, I did not expect to go to Montana this year. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even know I applied for it. I don't even know how my boss found my resume, because I didn't send it to anybody. He must have found it on Indeed or something, because I did not even have Montana, let alone the northern part of Montana, the most just out of the way place, I never thought I'd be up here. And, I decided to go, and it's been interesting so far. I think it's been really interesting so far. So I've really enjoyed it. Just talking about the job a little more. I know I got a few more questions about the job and stuff, I think, in this hat. I forget how many I kept or not, but it's just been a really interesting experience so far for me, and I'm really excited. I'm not really excited about the cold weather, but it's definitely an experience living in a northern Montana town. So definitely an experience. So that's how I'm doing it. All right, next. Craziest thing that's happened on the job. Again, craziest thing that's happened on the job. I like this question. I've only been there 2 months, but I guess, I don't know. There's just like, sometimes there are people that call in and it's just like a little weird. You'll always have those people sometimes. And, just like nothing too crazy's happened. It's just getting used to getting into that, swing, getting into that mindset, because for what, 2.5 years or 3 years before this, I was a gig worker, and I didn't have any hours. I just worked when I wanted to. And going from that to this, where you have, it's structured. It's not like you're, working in a cubicle or anything, but like it's still structured, and there's times where you have to be there, obviously, and times where you have to do specific things while you're on the job. So just going from that, gig life to this it's been interesting. It's just been transitioning into that. And I think I'm finally getting a feel for it now. The first couple of weeks were honestly really hard, very, very difficult, and because it's just like either you have it or you don't, and that's why I feel like so much turnover in radio, because like it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to know you have it or not. If you have that on-air personality, for one, and two, you have that work mindset where you can do things in a timely manner with quality behind them. Because I know a lot of radio people don't and can't, and for whatever reasons, they don't have that skill set and whatever. But it's just something that you have to work into, and I think so far I've been able to work in pretty well, I guess. But it's been interesting, and I've really enjoyed it. So this is kind of the one job I would do in a hourly fashion. I think radio is like the one job I would do, and yeah, it's been good so far though. So yeah, nothing too crazy yet. Hopefully, nothing too crazy yet. There's been funny moments though, so definitely a time to be had. All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Let's take this question. How's living in Montana been? Well, I think I've said a lot of that already. Montana. Yeah, it's been an interesting time. Before I moved here, I'd never been to Montana. Surprisingly, a lot of people thought I've had, but I have not. And to go straight to the most northern city, or I guess it's a city. Yeah, it's a city of 10,000 people. It's crazy, to go to that. Go to the most northern part. It's not like insane or anything, but it's just like, it's nothing I expected I'd be doing. But it's a fun time, and I'm just prepared for the winter. That's all. And yeah, it's been interesting so far. It's definitely got that small town feel. A lot of local businesses, and a lot of railroad people here too, because the Amtrak goes through here, which is cool. I really want to try the Amtrak someday, and just go to Seattle or Chicago or whatever. I don't know. I've been on the Amtrak before, but not from here. So I'll try that sometime. I don't know, maybe. But it's been good so far. So yeah, thanks for asking. I know I've already said a lot about here in Havre and Montana in general. So hopefully I can it's been good so far. And I finally, in the past week or so, I've finally gotten to this, gotten this apartment up to like actual, it looks like somebody lives here, because before it just looked like a bunch of random pieces of furniture just in random places, and now it actually looks like someone's apartment. So I'm really proud of it. It's my small apartment proud, so whatever. All right, slamming things on the floor. We're down to two more questions. 2 more questions here. All right. Before I read this, I'm gonna take a drink. We're down to 2 more questions. Thank you guys again for sending these in. Maybe I'll do one again next time. Not next time, but soon maybe. I don't know. So, second to last question here. Favorite song of yours? Favorite song of mine. So, I'm assuming they mean favorite song of mine that I like. So, I don't know. Favorite song. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite song that I can say. A lot of my favorite songs that I've made are really new, and I just finished recording them off of the new album, so they'll be out next year. But I can't really say because they're not out yet. I'd say my favorite song that's out right now, I like "Agree to Disagree." That's my new single that is out, and yeah, Yeah, I like the way that song turned out. But yeah, agree to disagree, I think turned out well. It actually just reached 1,000 streams on Spotify, so a little pat on the back for me. But yeah, I'd say my favorite song of mine's that. And then right now, my favorite song, I'm just gonna add this in for fuck. My favorite song that is not mine right now probably be, let's say, I'd say Jenma Higgis, Overflowing. That's probably my favorite song. She's a great synth pop artist. That's really great. Look her up. Jenma Higgis. Really good. Really interesting. I think she's from California or something. She does a lot of synthy stuff, which I really like. So, yeah. Yeah, she's a good artist. All right. On to the last question of this Q&A podcast. Oui, ma chérie. All right, here we go. Oh my God. How did I end this one? Okay, this one's meant for the ending here. Upcoming projects. Oh man. Okay, this is interesting because I just kind of talked about it in the last question, but I do have a new album coming out, and I think I've mentioned this before on past episodes. When Mike interviewed me, I think I talked about it a little bit, and the next album is going to be called California 99, and it will be out next year at some point. But I mostly finished recording all the parts. There's a couple things I want to go back either next week or the week after to kind of record in their solo spots. Solos are so difficult to record because, like, for me personally, like, finding the right instrument to solo is the most important part for me. I mean, I could, just like get a guitarist or whatever to do a solo or something, but like finding like the instrumentation for that, because a lot of the new songs that I've been recording are very orchestral, and just finding something that works with those different tones and timbres is something that I am finding difficulty doing on these new songs. So yeah, just going back and recording those solos, and not every song has a solo, but a lot of them have kind of solo-y parts, and I need a good instrument that sticks out for each of them in each instrumentation kind of form, and for each song and chord progression. So, like, sometimes an instrument may work in one key while one won't. So I'm kind of getting to that sort of problem. It's not like the melodies in the solos itself that's more difficult for me. It's just, an instrumentation, find the right instrument to solo over the whole entire bed of instruments. I think that's the most important part for me, at least on these new songs. But I think it's turning out well. California 99 is gonna be the album name. Will I have any singles? I don't think I will. I think I'm done with singles for now. I'm not in the business to make myself like world famous, and I don't really give a shit about singles. If I want to release an entire album at the same time, I will, and nobody else can tell me to do or what not to do with that. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. But yeah, that's coming out. Of course, I'm continuing the podcast from here. I think Vic Whalen's going to come back at some point here, and we're going to have some fun. And I am having guests back on the show. Actually, after I record this, I'm going to have a guest on, so right afterwards. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, and this is going to be a really good time. This is going to be a really good time, and I've always had fun when I've had guests on, and it's just been too many episodes in a row now that I just haven't had guests on. And I kind of miss bouncing my ideas off someone else, even if it's like a music question or whatever. But yeah, that's what I'm most excited about, continuing on with the podcast. Any other projects though, I'm doing radio now, so it's a whole separate thing. But that's more business oriented. Anyway, I think that's it for the projects. I can't really talk about the songs too much because I don't want to get too boring. What I will say is I think the album's 8 songs, so it's not too big of an album, but the songs are decently large. They're pretty chunky songs, but I think they're really good. We've played them live before. We played them live for the past year and a half, so you probably have heard of at least 1 or 2 of them if you've been to my shows. And I think that's the biggest project I have going on right now. It's slowly getting done, and I got to get the album art done too. So got to get all that art done, but it won't be out till next year. And when you see a date, you'll see a date, and that's all I gotta say about that. But anyway, I think that is it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for your support for this podcast. This whole podcast started because of the pandemic, and look, we're still in a pandemic, so it's just been really interesting how this podcast has kind of turned into its own project. I didn't think I'd be doing this past 20 episodes, so 50 is big. 50 is big, so but I'm glad you guys could be able to send in your questions, and it's been really interesting. And thank you so much to all the guests I've had. You know who you are, and for the people that keep listening, who have kept coming back since episode 1, thank you so much. Even one person is just like if I could just reach out to one person in this, that's a win for me. So it's really been great. Alrighty, Rudy. I think that's all I got for today. Q&A. Thank you guys again so much for bringing this questions on. Like I said, the podcast will stay weekly until further notice. So I'll have an episode out every Monday. Just a little update. Usually I don't include updates in the episodes, but since this is kind of a more personal kind of thing, I thought I might as well will. So yeah, thank you again to Buzz Music for sponsoring this episode. Check out Buzz Music below. The link is in the description, and I will talk to you guys later.